All right. It says I'm live on Hangouts. Just waiting for YouTube to do its thing. There it is.
All right. It says I'm live on
Messed up again.
Hangouts.
There we go. Hey, I want to say hi to G-Webs, Patrick, Rich, White, Grim, Unknown User for showing up. Appreciate it. Did I mention G-Webs? All right. Here we go. Welcome from behind enemy lines to Rick's Life as I See It, a 1-hour talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Also answer questions from the panel if they ever show up. Might be a zero show again like last Saturday, but that's okay. I know it's summertime. People are out doing their stuff. And I'll answer questions from the audience. They want to type them in the chat or send me an email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Also, in case you have to dive out early, the podcast for this show will be on Podbean, Stitchers, and iTunes within 24 hours of this show ending. I'm broadcasting on gun channels and YouTube at the same time. So, as our new user said, don't forget the thumbs up. I believe it helps with YouTube and their algorithms or whatever you want to call them. I have a Patreon page. I have a if you want to send me money, you can send it to me at PayPal. I got a link down below. I got a new Patreon subscriber the other day, and I appreciate that. I got T-shirts done by Spreadshirt.com. Just type in Rick's Life or Spotted Rick, and my stuff should come up. And I'm trying to think what else I got. I think that's about it. Hopefully, I got an email from Indiegogo. Just I think it was yesterday, saying my money's on its way. So as soon as I get that into my bank and everything else, I will get hold of Angelina and order my stickers. So there we go. Hey, Patriot in the Dark, I sent you a link, an email. If you want to join. If you're busy, I understand. It's not a biggie. Hey, Gunpowder. Hey, Dale. Well, I got a couple of boxes this morning from the old meat shop I used to work at. Great meat boxes, heavy duty, sturdy, got handles. That's what I'm doing. Oh, for you guys who don't know, I made a decision. I'm moving October 1st. Around that weekend it falls on, I move into Indiana. It's a done deal. Hey, Clover, good to see you. As I was saying, I said I'm moving, and it's a done deal. I think all my stars are lining up. For guys that didn't hear, the other day, I got a phone call from the guy who I was going to rent off before I was going to have my hip operation, and I canceled because of the hip operation. Well, he called me up and said the person that rented it wants to move out because she wants to go back to school. So he called me up and asked me if I was interested still, because I told him I would think about it after my operation. Well, it's available. And I went over my friend's house after that for coffee, and I mentioned it to him, and he goes to me, Rick, he says, how many friends do you have or people you know? I said, hundreds. In the sense is that everybody knows I'm in a 12-step program. So when I go to a meeting, it's like going to Cheers. Everybody goes, hey, Rick, how you doing? But, as he said, for the last 6 months, you've been totally housebound practically. And the year before that, so, you know, you didn't get around much. So for 18 months, he goes, how many of those people showed up? And I had to, one. And it happened, and he was riding his motorcycle, and he happened to ride through Westerly, so he thought he'd stop by and see me. So, hey, Sandy Shooter. So, that's what's happening. So, I've got the place, 2-bedroom, ranch-style duplex in a small town in Indiana. I'm talking bib overalls, piece of straw, countrified. I think it's got a total of 480 population. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's near Jasper, Indiana. So there you go. So I got you all on here now, and let's do the prize from last week. Now, the actual question, it was a historical question. I particularly think, you know, the answer is a scumbag, but it's historical. And the question was, what? I don't know if you would call him famous, but the quote, "Death is the solution to all problems. No man, no problem." And the answer was Joseph Stalin. Bit of history lesson there for you. I got quite a big response, and so I put all those names into my trusty random picker that I use online. Let me go to it. Got them all in here. Let me hit the button. Before I do that, the prize was sort of like a block linear type thing. And this, AR-15 mag coupler for 223, still sealed in the envelope. So that's the prize. I said the answer is Joseph Stalin, and the winner is, let's go back to my page here, hit my button, draw now. Let's see who my lucky winner is. Brian Q. You're the winner of that. So there you go. I think I got your mailing address. I'll get it to you. I decided instead of squashing everything, I went and didn't even think about it. I got this off of G-Webs. Went to the U.S. Postal Service website and ordered a bunch of mailing boxes for free. So, there we go. So I'm waiting for them to get. They should be here today. I haven't checked the mail yet. I've been lazy. And I'll get them all boxed up and mailed out. Anyway, I did have Clover on my panel, but his picture here has gone gray. So I don't know whether he's there or not. But I see him in the chat. So good to have you on board.
I just changed my the camera thing got messed up here. I've got it fixed. There it is.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you dropped out or not. I'm glad you're here. So that's it. My headline was Chicago again, and the rundown. What made me bring that up was the weekend started, and the shootings have started again already. I mean, last night there was a 3-year-old boy shot. You know, hang on, I go to this website called Hey Jackass, and I go to Chicago. It's got everything up to date on here. So this, from the 8/12 to 8/18 so far, we've had 6 killed, 59 shot and wounded, total shot 65, homicide 6. And that's just this week. You know? But I just thought I'd mention that. It's And did you hear? And did you hear what? Oh, Emmanuel, is that his name?
Yeah.
That goddamn sounds like a goddamn porn star name. But he he said more gun control was what he needs. So
I'm sure he does.
yeah. Two Live Move says you won't be broadcasting from behind enemy lines after you move to Indiana. I know I'm going to have to change my my starting speech there, but that would be all right. I could say welcome from the land of freedom.
You know, the whole gun control thing, Rick.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with gun control, but control the guns that get in the hands of the gangs and the criminals.
that's right. Instead of the
You know what I mean?
honest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you.
Let's do stuff that goes after the the bad people that have them, and there's things that can be done.
Oh yeah, there can be. I mean, because really, I mean, I was listening to what's his name, John Lott, on some radio he done last week, and somebody asked him the same question. He goes, and he said the same thing. It's not the honest guy who's buying it. He says he asked those guys. He said he was in a university classroom, and he asked them how. He said if you had 2 days, he said how many of you can go down there and go out and score some drugs? I think he said he had 99% of the classroom raise their hands that they could do that no problem. Then he said, well, how many of those drug dealers are selling guns? He said about 50% raised their hands. So he said you can get a gun that easy. That's what you got to stop. You know, not us who go there and buy them legally and fill out a 4473.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Patrick said Chicago needs the Punisher. Yeah, it does. And some politicians said, well, let's pull some of the police from the good part of Chicago back to the south side where most of the problems are. And another politician said, well, if we do that, crime will come to that part. You know? Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that would necessarily be true. I mean, as long as it has to do with what type of crime rates that they have in those other parts. What gets me when you start have law enforcement officers policing an area that they're not familiar with. The best. I mean, I always take it back to the Andy Griffith factor. The best law enforcement is somebody that's familiar with the community and the neighborhoods and all of that, because they're going to be able to tell when something weird's going on, right? Because they're around it.
Yeah.
And pulling law enforcement officers, I think when you start pulling law enforcement officers from other areas, and especially if you're talking about lower crime, more upscale areas, and putting them into higher crime, more impoverished areas, then I sort of fear the I don't know. That's when you start getting into potentially a valid argument for this police oppression, right? Wrongful shootings and things like that.
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point there. Yeah. So basically, what they need to do, as you said, is hire more police to get them in there. Hopefully, get police from that area, but that's hard to do. Unfortunately, I mean the number of minorities who join the police force are very slim. So there we go. I don't know the answer, but I mean, like England. When I lived in England, I mean, I know it doesn't happen anymore because I was reading something the other day about this. When I was in England and growing up as a kid, we used to have the local, of course, they call them bobbies, policemen, used to walk the beat. And he knew everybody. He knew exactly what was going on. He knew what kids were causing troubles. And if you misbehave too much, he'll give you a slap behind the, on the back of the head. Mm-hmm. Don't do it again. So, But over the years, they went from walking the beat to driving around in a car. So they're not interacting with anybody, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's what happens. Now, I mean, now that's why London's like it is. Because they don't have, I mean, in London, they had a policeman walking nearly every street. You know, it was that's where the Bobby came from, you know. So it's, as you said, they've lost touch with what's going on in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think they do enough. I don't think they do enough undercover, sting operations. And by that, I mean, they don't take it far enough up the chain, a lot of the firearms that are used, especially with gangs and stuff like that, they're coming in over the southern border. Not that they don't go across the southern border, some of them to start with, Fast and Furious, but they come back either way, and they're coming in that way. They're being fed in by outside sources, or there's but I mean, if you think about it, you think about just the sheer number of guns that we know is in this country, right? And we know there's more because obviously they're not tracking the criminal element like that. So, I mean, you've got to figure that a lot of these larger gangs, larger cartels, whatever in this country have, these massive arsenals. And that's a large part of it's not just the drug business, but, the arms business is a large part of it too. And if you talk about all the firearms that's been in this country for many, many, many years, yeah, I mean, a lot of that, look at how much could end up on the black market, right?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And if they would dry that up, that's the problem, is they've never done anything that's successfully made any attempt to dry that up. Their solution to that is to offer a buyback and give you a $50 Walmart card. Well, that's not going to work when, these black market guns are bringing thousands of dollars for a revolver or something. Somebody, you're not going to have a gangbanger that's going to turn in their black market gun for a $50 Walmart card. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go undercover sting operations and go after some of the larger honeypots.
Yeah, you're right. That's what they do. I mean, that is a good idea. Why they don't do it, I don't know. Or they do it, but they never tell us. I don't know. But that's what they need to do. They need to get some of the illegal guns off the street is the problem. I mean, they keep busting drug dealers, start busting gun dealers
right
on the street, so that's it. Anyway, what else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. Did you I mean, I'm only touching on the on the headlines. You guys can all do the research. But Louisiana having a multi-million-dollar road project, and they refused to let Citibank or Bank of America in on the deal because of their treatment of companies, who deal with firearms. The way they, so they said they're out of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty good. Of course, they said they were going to take it to court and saying they can't do that. But the person who did it said, oh, yes, they can. So we'll see what happens. So there we go. Oh, and what happened? I was listening to, I think the latest is, on the Hawaii thing. Hawaii has said they're going to take it to the big full 11-person court. So it more likely be overturned. And if it's overturned, then it will definitely go to the Supreme Court. Which will be good for us, hopefully. But then again, are we in a situation like Washington, where all these other states begged them not to go to the Supreme Court? when they lost the case, you know, for that carry thing in Washington D.C. They didn't. What's the word? File a motion against it.
Right.
You know, so because I mean,
didn't want a chance of making it worse for them.
Yeah. So I mean, so they get the 11-man panel together. They might say, no, we're upholding it because they don't want it to go. I mean, otherwise, because if it goes to the Supreme Court and they uphold it, it's statewide. Then we can all open carry legally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's what I would love.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how that goes.
And then, you know, if you're talking about that, you're talking about in the 9th, fairly liberal. So, and I'm talking about the area it encompasses. So, I mean, even if they did, you know, kind of placate to that, just so it didn't go to the Supreme Court, they would have to do something. So they would most likely you know, open up more of their concealed carry options, right? You got to think that's the route they would go. They're not going to allow people to open carry. They're too liberal for that. But they could loosen some of the strings. So even if they do that, though, I guess would be my thoughts is even if they do that, you got to wonder how many people are actually going to take part anyway, because you've got so many. When you're talking about California, you've got so many illegals that they can't do it, you know. And then you get up into the Seattle area and obviously population centers of California and of course Hawaii, and you've got a large liberal population that aren't going to do that. So, you know, in the end, how many are they going to have to give away anyway? Don't get me wrong; it'd be a great move for people that live in that district that want to be able to do it. It'd be a great move, but you know, in the end, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many you're actually going to see take advantage of that. You know, of anything they put into play.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you there. And on a similar note, there was that 6 school professors filed a lawsuit to have campus carry rejected because it passed. Was it last year? And the judge threw it out and said you have no cause, because they filed their suit saying that, you know, it's going to be like the Wild West. They won't be able to hold discussions in classrooms because 2 students will get to fight and want to pull a gun on the other one, you know, and shoot each other. And the problem is they can't. The judge threw it out, so you got nothing.
Yeah,
and
sure they don't.
And they went back and said, point to how many cases have you got where that has happened?
Of course, there was even a fight in your classroom. Well, I'd ask them. How many fights do you have in your classroom a semester? None. Okay, then what's your point?
Yeah, exactly. So
it's highly unlikely that people going. I mean, we're not talking about community college professors. You know what I mean? We're talking about university professors here, first of all. And how many people that are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for college tuition to go to a university are going to class and fighting, you know? And then let's go even a step above that, in that, you know, you're talking about someone legally carrying, and, you know, it's been proven over and over and over again when you talk about, you know, you're talking college age kids, high school, college age, you know, even young adults. If they're law-abiding citizens, hardworking people, going to college, trying to better themselves, stuff like that, they're not a ne'er-do-well, basically, then they're not going to be fighting in class anyway. I mean, they're to get something out of the class. So it's a moot point.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to back up a little. I just noticed it. My bad. In the chat on gun channels, G-Webs goes, when we were talking about fighting crime, he goes, I do not agree. You don't need to fight. I do not agree. You don't need to fight crime. Make crime unprofitable, and no one will pursue it, and it ends. So, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I say is the laws on the books for criminal cases If it says 25 years, make them serve 25 years. Don't slap them on the wrist and give them an ankle bracelet for 6 months and say, don't do it again.
Well, that gets into the whole issue of the prison system and all of the money that's tied up and flows back and forth within the prison systems, and that's a racket in and of itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, I'm assuming that's what he's on about. I'm not exactly sure, and he might type something in here or join us in the chat to explain it.
Mm-hmm. I get the premise. I mean, I think of what he's getting at. Instead of a one button solution thing, I mean, I'm thinking from multiple angles, right?
Yeah.
I agree that doing certain things that decriminalize certain, activities, therefore doing it illegally doesn't bring the same kind of money, that sort of thing. But, you're still going to have low tier, low rung, that low hanging fruit. That's still going to be, I mean, there's bad people and distraught people and people that think they have a bad lot in life and all that kind of stuff. That, I mean, you're going to have crime in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And when folks get together, you're going to have organized crime in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, I think that, we maybe get back to, I'll stand by it. I mean, we get back to not just with drugs or, black market weapons or stuff like that, but with basically any type of crime that we have the sting operations and the undercover stuff and the task force type things going on. But, again, we led off of this earlier when we were talking about that Andy Griffith effect. I don't know, as far as, if you have cops like you were talking about that walk the beat and were familiar with the community and everything else, then I don't know, except for infiltrating the larger elements of crime. I don't know that type of an operation would be necessary if you went back to that style of police work.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, hey, Ohio 45 ACP just joined the chat. Appreciate it. You're right there. It's we could talk about that for hours, but I'm going to move on. If anybody's interested, that Dr. John Lott, he puts a newsletter out weekly. It's at what in the hell's the site of it now? It's crimeresearch.org is his website. You go there and sign up for his newsletter. Got some fascinating stuff on there with statistics and stuff. Where he proves most people wrong on what they say is going on in the United States. Actually, he's got a report coming out. He said today that there was some, he named the guy, put out a report that there was more mass shootings in the United States than anywhere else in the world. And he said he's done some research and he's proved it wrong. That's not true. So there we go.
Anywhere else in the world, they leave off about 80% of the other countries.
Yeah, they do. So, I know what I was going to. I'm glad you're here.
They don't consider, for example, they don't consider genocide a mass shooting, right?
No. Here's something for you. What do you think should happen to that? I don't know if it has happened. The president of Youth Shooters of America. He was on that Cohen.
Oh, with all the Cohen stuff.
Yeah.
That whole, everybody that gets fooled by that idiot needs to immediately step down from whatever position of power and influence they've got, because they have absolutely no, they're obviously a very, very bad judge of character real quickly, because why would you, what he did, and I'm not going to get in and talk about exactly what he did. Go look it up if you want to know, but why would you even be a part of that, regardless of the context, right?
Yeah. But I said something about it the other day. Is yeah. Should the guy step down? Maybe. Now most of these things happened a year ago or so. You know, when this was shot, a lot of these.
Yeah, which they don't. I'm glad you put that out there. A lot of people don't put that out there. They make it sound like it happened today.
Yeah.
Which,
Now,
as far as it looking bad, makes no difference. But
yeah, but where I was going with this is, yes, I mean, what he did in that last one, when you think about it, was actually kind of bad. But it's an adult show.
But who in their right mind would even submit to doing that?
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't dare. That you talk about? No, I ain't doing that. We can talk about that tactic that was used, sure, but we're not going to get out and reenact that tactic with adult play toys.
No.
That's the point at which my common sense says this is ridiculous. We're not doing this.
Yeah. So I don't know whether that guy has stepped down or not, but I just happen to know he was the president of Youth Shooters of America. And I know you do a lot of stuff with kids. That's what made me mention it.
Yeah.
So I think his name was Dan Roberts, the president of the Shooters of America. Well, he was. I don't know if he still is. What else have I got on here? Is the oh yeah, I read this morning that I don't think everybody knows it now. The Democrats have actually come out with it now that gun control is going to be one of their running points coming up to the 18 midterm and the 2020 elections.
Best of luck to them. Best of luck to them.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I think it's a mistake.
They can't quit grappling about Trump long enough to stay on point on anything else. So best of luck to them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, talking about Democrats, you got that Western thing.
And at some point, do you think that Trump might actually do stuff on purpose just to make them keep going?
Oh yeah, I think he does.
I mean,
I think in a lot of his tweets, he does that.
It's simply to keep them going and keep them off from trying to play a meaningful game of politics. Yeah.
Oh no, hang on. What I got something in the chat here. Let me read it. Who's it from? Oh, unknown user. Any opinions on the training camp for school shooters and the discovery of the body of a missing young boy from North Carolina on the grounds? Oh, yeah. Didn't they release him on bail for $20,000? Which I thought was disgusting. But, hey, very liberal judge. Unfortunately. And that's a shame, too. I'm going slightly off target here. It's just, even when it comes down to our Supreme Court. I mean, we want Kavanaugh, is how you pronounce his last name, to be confirmed. Have a judge in there that believes in the Constitution. I mean, the way the Democrats look at, but even you look at it, it's pretty sad when you look at the 9 Supreme Court justices and you say, well, those 4 are conservative, sort of Republican, and those 4 are Democratic, and then you got a guy in the middle, he wavers. Politics shouldn't come into it. Those Supreme Court justices are meant to follow the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, you should almost. It's crazy. It's a crazy idea to say this, but you should almost know the outcome of any Supreme Court case, and it be 9-0, right? And you know the outcome if you know the Constitution. It should be, it should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, but even like going back to Hawaii being in the Ninth Circuit, those are a bunch of liberal judges, and it's terrible that we have to think that way. Politics shouldn't come into the justice system, really.
Yeah, I don't get how you can be a judge and then you can let that, let all of that, ignore, the Constitution, just completely ignore it. I don't get that. Now, I get that there's gray areas, and I get that depending on how legislation is written, and you have to define certain words and, in the legislation, what does this mean? Does this mean, because depending on the definitions, and if you've ever read any legal documentation, it almost always has a section where it defines certain words and things, right? And
Yeah.
you go by what those are defined, and you say, okay, well, the way they're defining it here, it doesn't fall under the Constitution, right? So then at that point, then yes, I guess it would become a decision but a lot of people think that it's the Constitution, it's black and white, and the court just needs to decide this way, and it doesn't really work that way. It has to do also. It's like the Baker thing in Colorado, which is back in the news now, by the way.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, but it's kind of like his thing. That had nothing to do with the Supreme Court saying that he had the right to refuse the service. It had the decision had nothing to do with that. It had to do with how the state handled the issue. So yeah, there's all these facets when we start talking about legislation and then litigation and then the court system. And it gets complex. And somewhere in those complexities is unfortunately where the liberals come in and take root.
Yes. Oh, real quick, taking a quick break, and got the instant quiz for the thing. And where's my question? All right, instant quiz. Okay, for prizes, I got a bunch of stickers here, plus a lanyard thing here, and that's about it. Be honest with you, this is gonna be my last quiz for a while, because be honest with you, I'm almost out of swag. I got to get some. I got to order my new stickers as soon as my money gets here, and plus I got to start packing everything up. So because of my big move, so I will start it again after I move. It's only 5-6 weeks from now, but I'll still be here every week. I might do it depends if I get any swag in the mail from anybody. If I get some, I'll keep doing it. That's basically what I'm going to put out there. Anyway, the question is, all right, which one should I use? Oh, yeah. This one was sent in by Angry American. The RT-20 rifle is chambered in what caliber? That's what I'm looking for. And hang on a minute. And that's that. Anybody got it yet? No? Let me do it this way. Give it I think that's it. Let me have another look, make sure. Yeah. Okay. Anybody got it? Aha! Unknown user. I think he's got it. Let me double check my answer.
Looks like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's what he's got, right? That's the answer I got, what I just put in the chat there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got it, unknown user. Sorry, Casino. You're the second too late.
He was close.
But there we go. So I will get that in the mail to you. And I do have the writing quiz at the end of the show. I got some stuff for that, which is pretty cool. So there we go. Anyway, welcome David to the chat. How you doing, David?
Thanks for the invite, Rick. I'm doing quite well. I've been really working lately, a lot of physical work, and let me tell you, I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning with a lot of pain. I had to go for the Advil.
No, gee.
I'm not used to all this lifting of heavy stuff and whatnot. But how have you been?
Oh, not too bad at all. I don't know if you heard the latest that I've made the decision. I'm finally moving to Indiana, October 1.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard. That's why I wanted to stop by and verify what I'd heard through the grapevine.
Oh, yeah.
What's up with the move? You just had enough?
Oh, yeah. Plus the being on, Social Security disability, no matter where I'm at in the country, just the same amount of dollars. And then, basically, I'm going from, paying almost close to $1,000 roughly here to renting a 2-bedroom for $325.
Wow.
Yeah, cost of living is much more affordable.
Yeah, and so it give me more money to be able to pay. I mean, basically, what's happening is, I'm going to be honest, I'm living from paycheck to paycheck, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
when a bill comes in, I want to be able to pay it.
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying I'm not going to. It's going to get me out of debt, but like when the cable bill comes in, I can pay it instead of, oh God, I got to wait till the next check. Let me call them up and make a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I'm doing it, basically. Plus, that's where my family comes from on my father's side.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to ask if you had family there.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So your dad was American and your mom was British?
English. Yeah. My mother was English, British. Yeah. My father was American. He actually came from a little town called Eckerty, Indiana. One of those towns, if you blink, you miss it.
Now, did mom come here or dad go there?
Dad went there in 1950.
Okay.
The Air Force.
Okay.
The United States Air Force. That's how it all started.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he was, and that was, just just 5 years after the war. And it was, I remember my grandmother as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
They used to joke about it, but she was one of those, the American, over here, oversexed and over here, taking all the British girls and stuff, because they could get nylon stockings and candy on the American base, and all that stuff was rationed on the British economy.
Ah.
So there was a lot of black market going on,
yeah.
And the girls would love their nylon stockings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, they were using all that material they could get their hands on to make military uniforms and equipment. And basically, in the United States, we were under a similar type of ration, but not to the extent.
Yeah.
But the UK really had tightened down on everything.
Yeah. And I remember, even as a kid, I was born in 1957. And if I remember, it just ended or it was still going on. They still had rationing then on certain items in England. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well, I'm sure it takes time. Yeah, I'm sure it would take time to build everything back up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, another thing I wanted to mention. Did you read that article about, when was that University in Colorado? There's a book. They didn't name the book, but it's a book that's anti-Trump, and this professor has made it part of the curriculum, and students have to read it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And I mean, some parents should raise up.
For what? I haven't read that. Do you know what kind of class that is that you have to read it for?
Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I still got it.
Because a lot of people throw stuff out there in context, and they go, well, that professor requires you read this book. Well, knowing the other side and their arguments and their tactics is not a bad thing. So just because you're suggesting, I mean, I could sit here and suggest you read all kinds of leftist books that are great books to read because of the insight it gives you. I'm not telling you to read them because I want you to convert to doing that. So the context behind it can be different.
Exactly.
It's probably not. Let's be honest. It's probably not different. He's probably doing it to try to change their minds. But
yeah, I mean, I can't find the article right now, but
yeah,
I should have kept the link, but I lost it. I'm terrible at doing that. I read these things and move on. I should save them all, but I have so many links at the top of my page. By the end of the day, I can't find.
Yeah.
But
everybody should be going and doing their own homework anyway, Rick.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just touching on the headlines,
Tell people all the time. Don't take my word for it. I read this.
That's why I say don't take my word for it.
So go look at it.
Yeah, I mean that's the same as the Massachusetts history teachers, where they were saying they weren't going to teach the other side, in other words, the conservative side of stuff because they didn't believe in it. They were only going to teach their perspective.
And you're talking about like high school You're
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
public school, whatever. See,
Yeah.
that's a totally different ball of wax.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
civics, which is something they don't even teach anymore. Civics has a place. Government has a place. Those types of things. And history thereof has a place to an extent in a high school, I think, education. But as far as political, politics and political issues of the day, I don't necessarily think that that's got a place in high school. High school should be, we're giving you the foundation to then, go out and make decisions based on the things that's going on in the world and the things that you're going to experience and see.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's see. Oh yeah, I can mention this. I don't know if this is true either. I just read this before the show just started. Trump said his administration is going to look at the social media because too many voices on there, from conservative people are being destroyed. In other words, they're either canceling their shows or, a shadow, whatever they called it the other day.
Yeah, the shadow banning or
whatever. Doing all that. And he said his administration is going to look into it. Now, whether that's another one of his tweets to get the other side going.
It is. It's him placating to a base. They've been looking into it. I covered it not long ago, but this year alone, I think they've had like 4 congressional hearings having to do with social media and whatnot. And nothing's come out of it. So they do it just to try to make people happy. And I honestly, I don't want them. I don't necessarily. Okay, yeah, what they're doing outside of context and everything else. I get it. It's bad. But I can't sit here and tell you I want the government wrapped up and involved in it. Because sometimes you need to be careful what you ask for, right?
Yes, you do. I mean, somebody mentioned something the other day, which it could happen when like me. I'm a big component of I want national reciprocity, right? But say for someone it passes the Senate, Trump signs it, so boom, it becomes thing. Oh, so say he wins in 2020, so we're good for another 4 years. After that, a Democrat wins, and the president writes an executive order canceling it.
Well, it's legislation, so I'm not real sure you can do that. So what you get into, I get the premise. I completely get the premise that, like I said earlier, you got to be careful what you wish for, because when somebody on the opposite side of the way you think is in there, what are they going to do with that? With those laws and regulations and whatever. But if Congress passes it and he signs it, that's different than an executive order that can be reversed. Now, there may be portions of that legislation that is under direct control of the executive branch, right?
Yeah.
Immigration, for example, has a whole lot of stuff that has to do, it's under direct control of the executive branch, and they can choose to enforce it, not enforce it, how they enforce it. They've kind of got free reign on a lot of that stuff. So it works the same way with any piece of legislation. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, somebody mentioned that, and I thought, well, that could happen. I mean, you say that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, like the the immigration people that they want them to have, they're here on no fault of their own.
Yeah, the dreamers or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that was written by an executive order by Obama, and they said that was illegal, but he done it anyway.
Right. Well, executive orders is a highly, highly gray area. It could be considered illegal across the board. The presidents have done them for ever and ever and ever. So they're a precedent, and I think that's how they get by with it nowadays, unfortunately. But yeah, it depends on, again, you have to figure out, first of all, what type of thing is it? Is it an executive order? And then even if it's an executive order, what type of an executive order, because there's multiple types of executive orders. And then legislation works the same way. There's legislation that's like line item stuff. Some of it's all one, all one lump thing. You can't get rid of one thing without the other. It's all tied, intertwined, and tangled up and together. So,
oh yeah, I mean, like
they do that on purpose. The annoying thing about it is that they do that crap on purpose.
Yeah,
you could write whatever the issue is. You say, okay, we need legislation or we need regulation on this, gun control, whatever it might be, right? Immigration. You pick the subject. You and I could sit down and write legislation literally on one piece of notebook paper, and it takes them 80,000 pages to write it. Well, there's a reason, and the reason is they're putting in all of these loopholes and caveats and back doors and and then pork, of course.
That pork belly stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, G website says hashtag Rick is a dreamer. No, I got an American passport. I'm not a dreamer. I'm already there. I am an American citizen. I do have a British birth certificate, but I have that birth certificate that says an American born abroad. So that's all I need. Stamped by the U.S. Embassy in London, England. So. Yeah. And that's what my two sons have too. So that's that. Oh, we're almost at the end. Let me do my prize. Where is it? What do I do with it? This is a good one. I got a bunch of stickers. Here in this envelope. Plus, I got 2 scarves. Is that what you want to call them? I got one for like the American flag thing. And then I got this camo one.
That just looks like a small flag there. Almost.
Yeah, it does actually. But that's the prize. This is the write-in one. You email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Now, this question, you got the Friday midnight to get this into me, and this question is so easy, I expect to see my mailbox full. And the question is, what was the nickname of the Johnson rifle given by Melvin Johnson himself? Want me to read that again? So here we go. What was the nickname of the Johnson rifle given by Melvin Johnson himself? Now, these questions came from Sean. So if you want to know what in the hell is he talking about, take it up with him. So there we go. Okay, you got anything to add there, David? What we were talking about? He's disappeared on me.
No, I just can't hit the buttons.
Oh, I mean, how's the workbench coming along with all the press on it and stuff?
Oh man, it's sucking up paint at a ridiculous rate. I'm on my 6 coat of primer. Wow. And it's white primer, and it just is that bare metal that, after you wipe and clean that metal down to just a rough surface, it just sucks it up. I mean, I thought wood would, obviously it's porous, it's dry, it absorbs paint a little bit, but you wouldn't think metal would, but the hell of it doesn't. And this primer is $13 a can that I'm using.
Wow.
Yeah, so I hope it uses just one more can and I'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, did you put anything on that wood to make it pop that you got?
Yeah, I put some red stain on the edges of the top piece, but it's covered in a stainless steel 22 gauge top that was custom fit to the bench.
Yeah.
And then the bottom wood is going to be stained as well, the shelf.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. Well, I said you're going to have to do a little video on it when it's all done.
Oh, yeah. Me and Dad have been getting a lot of photos each step of the way.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, that's what I like to hear.
So
anyway,
when are you starting your move, and when are you going to start packing?
well, I went and got some boxes this morning from the old meat shop I used to work at because they're nice and sturdy, and they got handles. So I'm going to start. I'm starting to pack. I'm going to start packing this coming. More likely, I'll do some tonight or start it tomorrow. But I have to go back next week and get some more boxes. He didn't have many this morning. Somebody already beat me to them. Everybody goes to him for boxes because he has so many. So, but next week he's going to put some aside for me because I guess I get a little bonus because I used to work for him. So he's going to put some around the back for me. If I can just go.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to start packing. Hopefully I can get it all packed, and I'm going to U-Haul it with my pickup truck. I don't have much, to be honest with you. I got more junk than I got stuff I want to take. So I can get it in a 6x12, I think, U-Haul thing. That should be big enough. You know, the only big thing I got to put in there is my dining room table, and that comes apart. So, you know. Oh, and my mattress, my queen size mattress. I ain't taking the box spring because it broke. I got stuff underneath it holding it up. But everything else will go inside one of those, and I'm good. You know. So I might have to hire somebody to help me load it, though.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
Yeah, because those box springs and the mattress especially, they're pretty heavy.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, do I take my washer or dryer or do I leave it? They're old, but they do work. You know? I mean, I don't know if I can afford to buy new ones. You know what I'm saying? So I might take those as well.
Yeah, just put those in the very front. If you're pulling a trailer, put them right in the front. All your heavy stuff there in the very front. You'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, Alaskan. I'm moving to Indiana. Website says leave them behind. Washers are everywhere. Yeah, I might be able to find a secondhand one somewhere. You know? Hey, even one of my relatives might have some that knocking around. You know?
Or know somebody that maybe has getting rid of a set.
I mean, I got so many relatives down there, I don't even know them all. You know? And it's amazing. When I go down there, I said this story the other day. When I go down there, right, even though I'm 61 years old now, my father's been passed away for about 8 years now, I think. Right? He was known as Jack. And even at 61 years old, when I see somebody, they go, "Hey, you're Jack's boy." You know, right. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, you know. But hey, if it gets me all the help I need, I'm good. I'll go with it. I don't mind being called Jack's boy. You know, maybe that'd be the new show. You know, Rick's life as I, or you know, Jack's boy's life as I see it, or something. You know.
Yeah, tribute to your pops.
Yeah. So that's about it. We're about out of time. It's coming up to 4:00. So, G-Web says leave the bed too, in his opinion. So yeah, I thought about that too. You know, doing laundry is a great excuse to invite yourself over to get fed and hang out in the chat. That is a good idea too. You know, hey, that's not a bad idea. Say, can I come over and feed me? Oh yeah. Hey, that's good thinking, G. Anyway, I'm going to say, you got anything last things there, Clover?
How far away are you going to be from Indianapolis?
No, hell, I'm down towards Evansville, which is right down near Kentucky state line.
That don't mean anything to me, but
I think it's a good hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
Oh God, okay. God, I'm thinking you're talking to a Texan. That's a normal trip for groceries for me, Rick.
Oh.
Yeah, NRA's in Indy next year, so just.
Oh hell, I'll go. I'll be there.
You'll be right there.
I'll be there.
No, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. Fun as always.
Yeah. Oh, there was a cool gun show in Evansville. Yeah. So, yeah, G says where I'm going to is where Indiana pokes Kentucky. If you look at a map of the United States, that's the area I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not far from Gary, Indiana. So, I mean, it's real countrified out there. You know what I'm saying? I'll be sitting out on my doorstep drinking a coffee in my bib overalls with a piece of straw in my mouth. It's real countrified. It's what I'm looking forward to. So, any last remarks, David?
Just thanks for the invite, and it's a pleasure coming on your show as usual.
I appreciate
And make sure to tune into Clover's show and Dead Horse's show as well.
Absolutely. So,
and the Daily Gun Show as well, G-Webs.
Yes. Midnight.
Yes.
Eastern time, that is. So, yes, that's a good show. A lot of times I fall asleep, so I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but it's still a good show. So anyway, I want to say thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate you showing up. Because it means a lot for you to take an hour out of your time to listen to me waffle on. It really makes my day. So, but I'll be back here again on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. with Rick's Life as I See It, Shooting with Disabilities. Unfortunately, we get off track a lot on that show. I think that show's sort of like based on hit or miss, really. I have a few topics, but they're very, very loose. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for being here, and I will see you next week.